This is the SCX10 II RTR platform. I threw a 540M and 1800 kV, a revolver, into it. We're working with the ESCape32 ESC, which needs some tuning, but so far it seems like I'm getting there. Oh, cicadas are out this year. And we have an SHV800 servo in there. Old discontinued guy, but I had it laying around. Let's check out the wheel speed. Yes, we can also check out the startup. You know, it's got that sign startup like AM32 does. Pretty slow. 1800 kV, 3S. Yeah, we can get it going pretty slow. And then wide open throttle. Said our gearing is plenty tall, and this is going to give us a good opportunity to try to wring out any issues that may present themselves. I was having a lot of stalling issues prior, and I increased my stall protect prot stall number, and hopefully that'll do it. So I'm not running a body today because I have the Wi-Fi programmer. I just you know, easy in out with that body, or no body for the wireless. All right, so far so good. Let's get this back tire kind of hung up, see how it handles it. Yeah, a little stally stall there. It kind of pushed through though. I mean, that's not bad for sensorless by any means. But again, we're working with AM32 and have been pretty closely for quite a number of years now, and I'm very familiar with essentially the lack of programming that it needs at this point. It's very predictable, and there's a lot of things like the stall protection is worked into the firmware of AM32 to where you don't have to mess with it. It's based on a velocity loop in the back EMF itself, so it just, you know, it just works. You don't have to fiddle with things. Very occasionally for some certain motors, you know, really high kV like a 2500 or something like that, you may have to change that a bit, the sine range in particular. But otherwise, from hardware to hardware, the settings on AM32 really don't change. So, you know, this is a different project though, so it's going to have, you know, its own quirks. And as much as I do like the concept of Wi-Fi programming, if a system is set up properly, it doesn't actually need to be programmed. So the utility of having that Wi-Fi programmer is more for, you know, ease of setup your first time, I reckon. But after that first time, you know, that's pretty much it. And up properly from a factory, and you wouldn't need to program it, period. And this is really just my opinion on things. But if something is sold as a rock crawling item, with the exception of maybe a very wide kV range, so as long as we're not having issues with stalling, then, you know, what would we need to change? I am going to check my heat here, because we're kind of going around in sine mode there for a bit. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've got, I forget what the settings are. The numbers are arbitrary for programming, so it's completely different. Since numbers are arbitrary, really doesn't help us any to know what we're doing when we start out fresh. And you know, you can get help from other people, I guess. Yeah, look at that wheel speed. And of course, the stock tires aren't doing us any favors for getting this thing bound down, but what I'm trying to do is just find good spots to get it bound down. And at least I'm working with a very well-known motor. And honestly, a well-known gearing for this particular vehicle. I've run the same pinion on this vehicle since day one. All right, a little bit of stalling there, kind of hitting that sine transition and just, you know, bouncing back and forth, but not so bad, not so bad. I think the average person they'd probably be okay with it. There we go, that's a good point to get it loaded down. Kind of hit this overhang. All right, she's stalling out. We're still in sine mode, it's trying to kick through. Boom. There, that wasn't so bad. All right, so we got a good spot that I know will stall this sucker out. I'm gonna bring it back to me. We're gonna hit up that Wi-Fi programmer real quick, and I'm gonna increase my stall protection a little bit, which should increase the RPM that it occurs. I think that's what it does. But it really, I don't want it to be a higher RPM. It would need to be a lower RPM. There we go. So I plug this little guy in there. Don't even have to power cycle the ESC. We're gonna hop onto our Wi-Fi. Come on. Connect to ESCape32. Boom. Then we go to the 192.168.4.1. I know I mixed up my dots and my points there. And let's see. Settings, so many settings, so many settings. All right, our protect stall is at 2500. I'm going to move that down to 2200. We're going to hit save. And yeah, there's I don't know if you can read much on that, but there's lots of settings. Tons and tons of settings. Lots of settings. Yeah, lots of settings. All right, so now we should just be able to plug this back into the radio without a power cycle. Boop boop. And now we go back to the spot where we had stalling. I lowered my stall protection there. And that should give us a lower RPM of stall protection. All right. I think I'm feeling a little better. Oh, nope, it's worse. It's far, far worse. Okay, so I just ruined things. But you know, we can go back to it and program, but I'm gonna try to get through this. Yeah, oh yeah, it's stalling a lot more now. Does not compute. All right, I guess I'll go back to, let's see, I was at 2500, I went down to 22 or 2100. How about y'all? Y'all have cicadas? I mean, if you're in North America, you probably do. All right, once more. We're gonna, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, it's nice that I don't have to like hook it up to a computer and all, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to tune every system. All right, so 2200 wasn't any good. Let's go to 2800. We hit save. Boom. It's quick. It's quick at least. Boop. Back in action. It would be nice if we had a pass-through on that.
Pass-through, dude?
Pass-through so that you can hook it up to your radio and change your settings on the fly without having to unplug and plug it back in. That'd be real nice. If I'm gonna, you know, armchair jockey this sort of thing. Hey, that seems to be on the money. Cool. So the tuning wasn't too bad. I did have to get some help to know what I needed to do. All right, I'm gonna go real slow through here. We're gonna try to kind of ramp through that sine range. Stalled, stalling more. I mean, I got it bound down though, so you know those rear tires are completely into an undercut. So let's see. Oh, can it get out? I mean, it pushed itself out, so it was at least able to go in the proper direction. Yeah, this is a perfect testing zone. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now, how hot was it after doing that? Meh, that's within reason. The 2800 on my stall protection for this particular set of gearing. Ooh, just heard a pop. These axles aren't really, they're not built, they're stock, they're the centered gears. Just need to, yeah, there we go. Oh, no, oh, there I goed it. Uh-oh, whoa. It's got tall gearing though, so. You know, servo's not missing a beat, of course. We'll see what the motor feels like here in a moment. Boink. There's a teeny bit of heat, I suppose, but that could also be the sun on a black motor. Honk to you too, sir. What do y'all think about testing with the body off? Is that something that you like seeing? It always seems like when I make social media posts with the body off, I get a lot more engagement than when it's a body on. And I don't know if it's just because it looks weird like a robot and you get more normies looking at it and less, you know, people that are into crawling. Not sure. All right, let's see how it handles the downhill transition. It is, oh yeah, I turned on complimentary PWM, so it will speed match for us. Yeah, I mean, I ain't mad at it. How about that? It could be worse. I'd say the stalling could be a little better, but at the same time, oh no, and the driver could definitely be better. Yeah. But that's not bad. That's not bad at all. This is a worst case scenario situation. I mean, I could put a 2700 on it. Then we could really talk about bad situations. Something with like 10 amps and no load. The only thing I don't really like about this MT12 is really hard to one hand. It's just big enough. Yeah. Well, it's not dead. You know, that's what I got to say about that. She's a little warm. It's geared tall. The system could be worse. Honestly, there's a lot of, oh, woo! Consider this a test bed vehicle for this particular system for a while. And now it's telling me the transmitter battery's low, so I guess we'll call it good on that. Well, if you got any questions about life, you know, we should probably talk about that stork and where babies come from this time, but you've made it to the end of the video. Hopefully that means you liked what you saw. If you want to help out the channel, you can like, subscribe, and definitely comment down below. We would like to hear new ideas from you, so be sure you let us know what you'd like to see. There are some other suggestions probably floating by my head right now that you can check out, and otherwise we appreciate your support and your help growing the channel.